Hey everyone. Please support what I do to help keep Greyhawk alive by subscribing to the channel. Also, please consider becoming a channel member to get early access to videos, exclusive live chats, quarterly adventure modules, and more. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
I thought it was about time to keep going with my Slave Lords series of reviews, and that's what I'm going to do today on Greyhawk Ragnarok. So, next up in our Slave Lords review series is Scourge of the Slave Lords. This was I believe, first edition. Still, yes, this is still first edition. Um, and it's designed to be part of a series. So this was a time when TSR wanted to combine its most famous and popular adventures into one long mega campaign. So you take the Temple of Elemental Evil and Slave Lords, and then the Giants slash Drow, and you turn it into one ginormous thing, and that you would have three mega modules to do that with: T1 through 4, A1 through 4, and then G1 through 3 slash D1 through 3 slash Q1. So this takes the original A1 through 4 and inserts a framing device, which kind of bridges it from Temple of Elemental Evil to the Slavers, and it inserts some bridging encounters between some of the various modules. The majority of the modules themselves are kept intact. There are some changes to kind of make it more consistent with the framing story. One of the encounters, for example, at the very, very end, which was from some mysterious benefactor, is now from somebody at a party where they start off, who was captured by the slave lords as well. They tinker a little bit here and there. Um, and they've also introduced a sort of a meta plot element where two of the slave lords are kind of fighting for control of the slave lords as a whole, and it's because of those machinations that the PCs are kind of drawn into things, and one of the slave lords is helping them along to hopefully help him defeat the other one. Um, it kind of works, I can see that. I think it would be much more interesting if it was extended to some of the other slave lords, like they were all involved in these machinations, and all these different things were designed to help one or the other. I could see this with like a half a dozen of the slave lords all doing the same thing, and I think that would actually be more effective and more true to their nature. But it works, and you can kind of, as a DM, if you wanted to, you could use that as a jumping off point for doing it, more elaborately. Um, the uh, the framing device is that the heroes, having defeated the Temple of Elemental Evil, are just hanging out in Hamlet. One of the things that really irks me is they say Ostler, the innkeeper, plays a fine game of drafts. Ostler is not a name. His Gundygoot is his name. The owner of the Welcome Wench in Hamlet is Ostler Gundygoot. Ostler is not his first name. Ostler is a title. It is a job. An ostler is somebody who's an innkeeper. So they little whoever wrote the text, and it's really not clear who wrote what parts of what text. Flubbed that, and a few little things here and there. Like that are throughout the module. It's not too bad, and that's not nearly as egregious as something. Um, but basically, the PCs. Sorry, I'm the PCs are hanging out in Hamlet. They receive a letter from a Dame Gold on the Wild Coast, who invites them to a big week-long party. She's in some sort of trouble or whatever. Um, and they go through the Welkwood. They make it to Safeton. There's the party itself at Dame Gold's mansion, and the party goers is an interesting thing, because they give some interesting little one line or two line character notes on some of these people, and then you never hear about it again. Um, most of the time when this is done, it serves kind of a nice adventure hook, or it adds to the setting in some very very minor way. But here it's weird because we never hear of any of these people again. The impact that this module has had on the Greyhawk setting is much less than it should have. And I think it's because all the changes have been kind of buried in these additional items that people kind of overlook when they're looking at the module. Um, so that, there's like names of places that I've never heard referenced before anywhere again. There's this one guy, Joseph of the Light, a self-proclaimed prophet who has recently appeared out of the wilds of the Pomarch. He is earnest in his mission, considering those who mock him to be deluded and trapped by evil powers. His reputation is one touched by the gods, able to work wonders beyond those of the clerical cloth. What is this? I mean, this good cleric just comes out of the Pomarch and can do stuff more than a cleric can. What's that about? But you don't get any stats or anything for the DM to really hang a hat on. There's magic users and so forth. It's just it's odd that you want just a little bit more, and in the places where you do have more, it's not enough more. So like Black Cur, an alchemist from the southern lands. What southern lands? I Southern Wild Coast? Southern what does that mean? Um, uh, Her habit of conversing with unseen speakers plainly heard by all around her is quite unsettling. It's a great little hook, but I'd like to know a little bit more. And so on. It would be nice if we had a little more background on these partygoers, and it would also be nice if they had any role in the module going forward. Once you leave Namegold's mansion, except for one exception that I can see, you don't get any more on them. Um, and there's also this Feast of Idora. Idora, um, is a week-long affair celebrating a religious unifier of ancient times. Idora is supposed to have achieved the unification of several religions, such that those of good alignment can now generally live and work in harmony. He is honored and revered by many temples and churches, although exact practices celebrating his achievements vary. Dame Gold has chosen to honor him by holding an elaborate series of banquets and entertainments. Um, okay, where'd this come from? And where did this ever go? There's no mention of this ever again. I mean, it sounds like they've combined the churches of Soltis and St. Cuthbert and Ironius and all of the good aligned things into one big. You never hear of this again. It's just kind of tossed out there like it's a big deal, and then it's ignored completely. Which is it's another example of this module doesn't seems like it should have had more impact on the setting than it did. Um, and I don't know why. It's just weird. I mean, I know why I don't really uh, incorporate that stuff is because when this first came out, I just figured, okay, it's a reprint of the original stuff and a few little filler bits, and I just kind of shelved it and ignored it because why would you need it? But there's stuff tucked away in here, which is really cool. Um, and then there's the PCs are faced with a faux choice because they were originally brought to Dane Gold's mansion to to bring a potion to her brother who's in Monoland or something, but that has nothing to do with um, the adventure. And if they indeed, and then immediately after they learn about that quest, they are told that the slave lords have raided Dane Gold's mansion and kidnapped everybody. So now they're faced with this choice, and if they make any other choice other than going to rescue the partygoers, they are like they're alignment shamed because you promised you'd go deliver this potion, so you're gonna like lose stuff, and you can't leave your friends to the tender mercies of the slavers, so you're gonna lose stuff there. It's weird. Um, that they that they do this. It's unnecessary. It seems completely superfluous to the plot. If you want them to go after the slave lords, make it plain that they're supposed to go after the slave lords, and don't punish them for doing something else that you've also dangled in front of them. That could very easily be the actual adventure. It's just weird. Um, that they would do that. I mean, you could very easily just say, well, her brother was kidnapped by the slave lords. Ta-da! And now you've given them a reason to go after the slave lords, and in fact, a MacGuffin to recover from the slave lords, the brother. So there's all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah, so if you continue with the mission of it's on page 12. If you continue to investigate the slave lords thing, you're fine because that's what the module wants you to do. But if you go with the first mission that they gave you, good player characters sleep uneasily from this point on. Lawful good characters are troubled by dreams accusing them of evil. They have a -1 penalty on all saving throws and to hit rolls. It's like they've been given a quest spell or something. Um, this can be removed by doing penance. Lawful good clerics are denied spells above second level until the quest is undertaken. Um, Paladins can't exercise their special abilities. It's just so weird that they would like give you this and then punish you if you go after it. It's downright biblical. Um, So anyway, so then they go to they're finally on the trail of the slave lords. They beef up some of the towns. It would be very good if you're going to be running a Wild Coast campaign. There's a lot of great information on some of the towns of the Wild Coast in there. Um, Especially Highport. There's an entire chapter on on the city of Highport, which was the setting of the original module A1, but that was only one temple in the city. This gives you a lot more detail about the city itself, and a lot more ways to adventure there, and details, and there's geomorphs and so forth. So it's very good stuff there. Then you go through the thing, you go through the temple like you would normally do, and then there's a lot on the journey into the Pomarge itself. There's a whole into the wilderness chapter here, which serves as pretty much the other big um, interjection of new material. And I personally like this because it was the first thing that incorporated some of my work from my Dragon Magazine article in Dragon 167. Some of the humanoid tribes that I did are in here, which is always fun. But it doesn't really seem to achieve much, other than giving the players more encounters to deal with. They don't really seem to advance the plot. They don't give you any real insight into what's going on within the slave lords themselves. It's just very, very, very odd that they would do this. So it's like I say, it feels like they needed a page count, and they just kept adding encounters until they hit that page count. There's one other very odd thing about this module, and that's some of the art by Ron and Val Lackey Lindon. Some of the art is just, I don't know. Let me see if I can do this for you. You see what I mean? It's like it's a drawing over a picture, and then they change the faces to be pig snouts to make them orcs, and there's something on fire, and oh yeah, there's an owl and something and an Indian. I don't. It's just weird. And there's another one like that, which is even weirder. Because I would swear, let's see if I can get a better. That woman there with the sword, I'd swear that's Conan's mother. Uh, it really looks like Conan's mom to me. So it's just the artwork is a little off-putting is the way to put it. Uh, so there it is. It's a it does. Some of the pieces are really worth it. Where they're fleshing out the towns on the Wild Coast. That material, that added material, is absolutely first rate and very useful for any campaign, not just if you're running the Slave Lords. If you're running anything that is based on the Wild Coast, it is worth it for that material alone. You get some really great details about some of the population centers. So that's and some of the wilderness areas just to the south as well. So definitely worth it for that. The additions to the plot itself seem honestly unnecessary. And in the one place where it's a good idea, where they have the machinations of the slave lords against each other, it doesn't seem to go far enough. And there's no real clear way that the PCs are going to become aware of this, of that they're being used by one or the other. And it should have a lot more. It should have all of the slave lords essentially fighting against each other, kind of sub rosa, to make it, to try to achieve supremacy over the others, and then the PCs could be drawn into different ways in different ones, but they have to become aware of it for it to really mean anything. Here, it's just a Deus ex machina, to put them out of trouble or to put them along the path that the module needs them to go on. Which, I guess if the DM needed it to happen, you could just make it happen. But like I say, it just feels unnecessary in the way it's presented, and it could have been very cool if it had gone further. But as it is, I don't really see how the additional material really adds all that much to the enjoyment of the module from a story standpoint. So anyway, well, final verdict. Definitely worth it for the setting material, especially the Wild Coast stuff. There's some very underutilized things with implications for Greyhawk as a whole, which are just abandoned immediately, and some of them seem a bit overreaching, like that good alignment alliance thing. And others just seem kind of tacked on to get a page count. So it's a mixed bag, but there's definitely stuff that's worth it in there to get. So anyway, hope you like this one. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I've got I think one or two more left in the series. So anyway, hope you're liking the series. Hope you're liking the channel, and I will talk to y'all later. Stay safe from Pinkertons.
Thanks for watching today's video. Please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Below you'll find links to my Patreon, which helps make these videos possible. You'll also find the web store where you can buy my books, and my blog where you'll find all sorts of free downloads and other articles. Thanks, and have a great day.